Hello everybody, good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everyone around the world watching PAX Online. We are very, very excited to bring you Telstra's Tourneys and Free Play. My name is Nick Beckwith, I'm going to be one of your hosts tonight.
Yep, and I'm Stacey Groovy, your co-host.
And we're basically very excited to bring you some Rainbow Six Siege, our first game of the week. Very excited, which is actually coincidentally just had a major patch drop.
Yeah, 3 days ago.
That's pretty
fresh.
Pretty rough to be going straight into a tournament playing on a brand new patch. I personally don't know a whole lot about this game, but I'm so glad to be throwing it to the casters a little later today who definitely know what is going on within the game. Now, I want to thank you guys for tuning in from everywhere around the world. It's very exciting to have you here with us. Now, we do have a Discord, the PAX Online Discord, so you guys can join in, play in our tournament. So we've got a few other games coming up this week.
Yeah, so we've got Street Fighter 5, Rocket League, Overwatch, and Call of Duty.
Some of which I'm very excited to take a look at, and very excited to watch the finals of, which is what we're going to be watching tonight with Rainbow Six Siege. Now, we do have to let you guys know about something. It is called The Games on the Barbie. It's a talk show, and they have some very exciting prizes to give away on this talk show coming up this Saturday and Sunday.
Yeah, everyone loves a freebie, and this one is amazing. It's valued at $550, so you know you're getting some really good stuff in there. I'm very excited to see what's in there.
I know for me personally, going to PAX every year, one of the most exciting things is sort of going around all the stalls and seeing what you can grab for free.
Oh, yeah.
You got pens, you got whatever they give
10
away.
million stickers.
Stickers and obviously drink bottles as well. I think last year I ended up with about 3 or 4 drink bottles alone. But it's exciting
is amazing.
to go and get a whole bunch of free stuff, and they're not stopping with PAX Online. So there's a whole bunch of stuff from like Marvel's Avengers, Capcom, Control Freak, Bethesda, ZQ Racing chairs, Rig are giving away a surround sound PC headset. Like there's a lot of stuff to be given away. So that's Saturday and Sunday at the Games on the Barbie.
Yeah, make sure to tune in.
Now we are going to talk a little bit about this Rainbow Six Siege patch to bring you guys up to speed if you haven't. So let's take a look at some of the details that's going to be we're going to be looking at in just a moment.
Yeah, it's a big one. It's Year 5, Season 3. We've got Operation Shadow Legacy coming out, and of course a new operator, Sam Fisher, joining the Siege list as Zero, and bringing his Argus with him, which is a fun new camera. It's a new kind of recon tool, 2 cameras and a laser, just to add an extra bit of flavor in there. Some of the other really big updates though is, and especially for those of you who haven't played Siege before, this is an important one to know, is the new ping system. So ping 2.0 is out. This one is going to help everyone at all skill levels. It gives a better communication, better intel, and you can do it without a mic, which always helps for those of us who just want to bring the rage down just a little bit.
And obviously knowledge is a really big part of the game. So anything else that can give you a little bit more recon is obviously going to be a really, really big part.
100%. Yeah, I mean, this is like this is FPS chess. That's how I describe Siege. It is vertical play, horizontal play. There's so much strategy involved between attackers and defenders, all trying to get to that bomb.
And obviously, with a lot of competitive games, especially shooters, especially operator or hero-based games, when a new character is released, often they aren't actually allowed to play in the competitive scene for a while due to not maybe being properly tuned or being overpowered or underpowered.
Just to be cooked a little bit longer. There are quite often a little bit of a shadow ban phase there where we don't quite see them come into professional play just yet, but we do get a taste of it in our regular casual play and online ranks, so make sure that you log in and give it a go. And look, there's so many changes with this patch. I could go on for ages about it. The other big one is scopes. So they have changed how scopes work. They've brought in a whole new range of them. They've adjusted the range of quite a lot of scopes. Now, I don't believe any defenders, I'm sure the commentators will correct me if I'm wrong, I don't believe any of the defenders at the moment have a 2.5 scope. You know, we've got single scopes coming into it. They're slowly being distributed around. Ubisoft were very well aware that if they just sort of launched everything in on this patch, it might go a little awry. So they're listening to the community, they're taking their time with it, and they've just fixed a whole bunch of stuff. Another really exciting one is they've taken in account reinforcements. So those of you who are just like me, who love playing the support role, you would know that reinforcements can be the bane of your existence. But now it's a reinforcement pool, which means all the defenders actually share in the reinforcements for those who need to go off, your Valkyries who need to get to the spot to throw their cameras out. They don't have to worry about reinforcements. So if you're a Rook player or a Legion, you can grab all your reinforcements and get that site defended and ready.
So
pretty cool.
You mentioned a bunch of scopes that are coming into the
Yeah.
game. As the game as I know it is very much an indoor game. Like the whole thing is a siege, right? You're going inside a building. You have to take it room by room. You've got to get to the end and save the hostage or do something with the bomb, right?
Yes.
So a scope that's a 2.5 times or a 3 times may sound like it's maybe a little bit like too far. Is that going to be like pretty game breaking to have that sort of stuff in the game?
Look, it is going to change. It's going to open a lot more middle ground play. So, spawn peeking and sort of attackers sitting like too long outside, trying to nitpick people off at the very beginning was a bit of a problem.
Yeah.
I think this one's going to see a shift in how people approach that. It's certainly going to help. They've cleared up the scopes quite a lot. So you have better vision now. You can peek better around corners. I think the defenders are going to find that it really improves their play. I know that on Reddit already the community is sort of having quite a few arguments about which scopes they think are the ones to go to now. Some people prefer the old Holo, some people like the new ones. Yeah. But overall, I think it's a resounding success from Ubisoft to bring this into the game. So good on them.
Yeah. Now, I believe we do have a little video to show you guys, a little bit of a hype video. So if you guys are going to maybe sit back and relax, and then after that, we are going to go and throw it to the casters and get you some awesome live gameplay for the Rainbow Six Siege finals. We'll be back with you really soon. Hey everybody, welcome back. Now, as we mentioned, there are a bunch of games coming up this week. We've got Rainbow Six Siege tonight. For the rest of the week, we do have some Street Fighter coming your way, some Overwatch, some Rocket League, and Call of Duty. Yep. But tonight, we are concentrating on Rainbow Six Siege as we have our finalists waiting by and ready to start. Now, we have a couple of phenomenal casters here with you tonight. We have Pi and Cthulhu, and they are going to be basically bringing you through this one step at a time, especially for people like me who I'm going to be a little bit in under my head with this game. But it's exciting to watch nonetheless. As they mentioned, it's a bit like chess. Yeah. So without further ado, let the finals begin.
I'm joined by wonderful Pi. How you doing?
Hello, my name is Pi, as Cthulhu has mentioned, and I'm actually doing great today. It's been a long day. At the end of the day, just want to wind down, cast some great games, and hopefully have a good time.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we also have already a map pre-picked already whilst we were setting things up. So we have the theme park that will be played out with Dim Scrims kicking things off on the defense and Randy Pants to kick things off on attack, which theme park as it is, it's a fairly rare kind of appearance in the competitive play. So I'm quite excited to actually see it being played out here.
Yeah, I have to agree with you there. Theme park is normally turned down in favor of the more famous counterpart maps, such as a cafe, clubhouse, even the occasional Oregon. So it's quite interesting for me, at least, to be able to cast such a rarely seen map. Personally, I think theme park is a great map. It does require a little bit of practice, both on the defense and the attack, but it is, a very interesting map with a lot of interesting sites that you could possibly explore. So yeah.
Yeah, definitely. It's still I suppose, yet to be kind of fully evolved into a meta map, I suppose. There's still plenty of angles to be found and still plenty of bandit tricks and kaid tricks to be coming around, especially actually with the release of the Shadow Legacy. We, prior to the broadcast as well, we were in the custom game kind of toying around with some of the ideas. And funnily enough, the kaid tricking is actually going to be a much more entertaining idea, given that the Thatcher EMP rework no longer destroys the bandit batteries or the kaid charges. So you can quite safely, whilst your kaid charge is still EMP'd, throw in another one. You already got your wall electrified, unless Thatcher decides to go absolutely gung-ho and throw in the all three of his EMPs. And at that point, well, there's not a whole lot of things that you can do there.
Yeah, at that point, there's not much difference between old Thatcher and new Thatcher because you're just EMP juggling at the end of the day. So, however, I do agree with what you said. With these new operator reworks, this also means that operators who, prior to this patch had smoke grenades, I believe, now they have heart-breaching gadgets. Do you think that's going to make an impact into theme park today?
That is actually a pretty good question. I think maybe for one or two sites, this will be definitely quite a game-changing gadget, given that now you're not really limited anymore to just your usual heart breaches. And I believe, I'm pretty sure Ace and Melusi have been also released into the fray.
I believe so.
So this is going to be another exciting thing, because prior to the release from the competitive quarantine, Hibana was the only remote heart breaching operator. Now you have Ace kind of as an alternative, and a very loud one, I gotta say, given his gadget.
Yeah, there've been a few times where I'm in game and I'm like, what is that loud thumping sound in the distance? And it's just the Ace gadget going boom, boom, boom. And you're like, what is that even? And I've noticed that a lot of Aces, to try and deter away from a bandit tricking or any sort of tricking potential, they'll throw down, 2 to 3 Ace charges at once. So it's just chaos, honestly.
Oh yeah, I mean, I did talk to a few of the pro players as well, and they were mentioning something across the lines of essentially you have to pretty much adapt to the mentality that at this point it's a given. The wall is going to be breached, and you have to essentially play for adaptation for that. But whilst we were blabbering on about, we actually have almost a finished ban phase with a few fairly interesting operator picks. I mean, minus Thatcher, who's pretty much gets benched on the regular. Monty, Mute, and Valkyrie are the ones to be banned out, and I want to get your opinion as to, do you reckon it will change a whole lot the playfield of theme park, or whether it's just kind of more so of, I suppose, comfort picks here?
Well, I think normally the standard bans, especially on the defense side, for theme park would be something more along the lines of maybe an Echo, a Mirror, even a Maestro sometimes. So to see a Mute and a Valkyrie come out, they're not bans that would surprise me per se, because they are operators which are picked for theme park. So it could just be a specific ban, but it is a little bit surprising, I guess.
Yeah, it's unusual, but yeah, not in the realm of kind of being completely impossible. Straight off the bat, we already see an Ace pick with the Maverick as well. So, like I mentioned before, there's going to be a definite breach there. But on the defensive side, we're also seeing both Bandit and kaid to also be brought on board, which should make this more so of, like the hosts mentioned before, a game of chess.
Attackers need to locate and defuse bombs.
Yeah, I believe, most likely Toasted on Bandit will be just going to Bandit trick the barrels walls as well as the maintenance walls, whereas Zippy will probably save his kaid charges for the hatches. It is a bit more common to see kaid on the hatches, but I would like to see him possibly, juggle those kaid charges to maybe prove to be effective against any sort of maybe grenades that come flying over from the sides from the attackers, or any form of breaching potential.
Yeah, namely, I would imagine that the main kind of issue going to be here is Mixes' Maverick. Sorry, I kind of lost out the name of the operator for a second there. But yeah, Maverick is definitely going to be a huge issue, and I would imagine that kind of first line of defense is going to be those bandit charges, and then later on the kaid charges could be coming in, or one of them could go on the hatch and one is kind of in the inventory for later use. But apart from that, this is looking like a very anchor heavy setup. Not a whole lot of roam. Matter of fact, only a single person, that is Kaz, going to be playing in, on the top floor, just around the office area. And this should allow Randy Pants to get a pretty nice and quick breach, and some early positioning on the map pretty quickly.
Some very early shots do come out on Mix's side. She had actually managed to tag down Kaz. I believe he opened that hatch really aggressively with his blowhook and actually dropped straight down it. So Kaz here was just reinforcing, didn't actually expect anyone to go that aggressively. However, that really turned around quickly for him.
Yeah, that is a very nice quick turnaround. Already some quality vertical control right above the, I believe that's the armory side already. And Isabel should be able to get the angle onto one of the walls, which I believe do have the Kaya charge on them as well. So should be a pretty easy, pretty quick riddance of the electronic gadgets. So we'll have to see. But apart from that, yeah, an early player advantage should certainly make things a whole lot easier. Yep, thank you, Isabel. Very cool.
Yeah, and with these verticals down playing, you can see exactly how effective they are. Isabel proving this with that little tight headshot onto Bush Demon with that SMG-11 as well.
Yeah, solid beginning, and once again, a very swift opening as well by Ace, going for the entry as well with an AK-12, is able to do that very swiftly, but gets shot down fairly quickly. Meanwhile, there is some breaching already happening and multitude of angles being pressured, so only Castle and Bandit remaining to hide behind the throne. There will be some damage exchange, but apart from that, really, the two defenders do still have a pretty firm ground to play off.
Yeah, really all Randy Pants at this point needs to do is to be able to get that diffuser down, and then they just have some angles to cover. So it really is in the advantage of Randy Pants. The diffuser is put down, and the attackers swiftly playing that round with a variety of trades, but ultimately it is Randy Pants to take it out.
It was slightly on the closer side, given that it did turn into a 1v2 side situation, pardon. But all things considered, a very well-rounded attack, so should be setting a very nice pace here for Randy Pants.
Yeah, I think overall, their execution was quite solid. In fact, they went in, they managed to get that early frag down onto the Roma cast, and they managed to, take up all the appropriate verticals. There wasn't a lot of pressure from below, there was no C4s, there was no reactive roams or anything, no one firing back up at the sledge even, and, they were able to ace open those breaches quite relatively easily now that, the verticals were secured and all the K charges were blown. So I'm interested to see how, the bunk or daycare side will go differently.
Yeah, with bunk and daycare, you get a little bit more of a safer ground for the defense. There's not a whole lot of chances that you would get verticaled, albeit that there's still some breachable floor right down below you. But obviously, you won't be able to get as many of the comfort angles like the attack did in round number 1. And here as well, Dim Scrims are bringing in the Goyo as well, which should allow to extend, I suppose, some of the safer ground thanks to those ballistic shields that have some kind of fallback utility
they were just able to take down those breach denials so quickly, so effectively, that it's almost like there wasn't a point to it existing at all.
Yeah, it seems that it just the fact that the moment the Randy Pants team was able to figure out how things were going and what was kind of the general pace and how passive Dim Scrims were playing, it seems that they just went and capitalized on that really quickly and really well.
Yeah, interesting little pick of a Kapkan onto the Armory and Throne Room. This might be the result because maybe they're a little bit sick of the attackers just sort of rushing in. I have noticed that the attackers are moving quite aggressively. You know, that can be indicated by the Maverick opening up that hatch in round 1 and just almost hot dropping straight after it. As maybe, you know, with Happy Skittles on that Kapkan, they're saying, you know, you guys just got to slow down a little bit. We're not having it.
Yeah, Kapkan should definitely introduce a little bit of that passive damage that could be dealt pretty quickly to Randy Pants. Another thing is, I like the alibi pick. Bush Demon finally realizing that there needs to be another kind of unknown or unconfirmed variable there within the defense, and to be able to throw in kind of the spanner in the works of the attack with their super aggressive gameplay. So if he's able to just even delay the time, not even get the damage, not even get a kill, just force them to search for him for as long as he can, that's already a win in his books. And draining time is going to be definitely a huge weapon here for the defense to actually utilize without even dealing any kind of damage per se, or rather dealing minuscule damage. So yeah, I definitely think that there is a whole lot of ways that Dim Scrims can pull off a win here really nicely, but so far they've been a little bit disconnected between each one another. So maybe further down the line they will be able to essentially get their coordination down pat.
Yeah, and this is one of the struggles of Theme Park. Theme Park is such a large map comparatively to the other maps in this pool, so you really need to be able to get some flank denial up, such as the Nomad air jab, such as effective droning, or even, you know, just some attacker holding an angle. But otherwise, you wouldn't really be able to get you wouldn't be able to cut off a lot of the defender roams, and you might get very easily punished as a result of that. However, there isn't a lot of top 4 presence out from Dim Scrims, the defenders, so I'm quite curious to see, you know, how effective their roam play is going to be. Maybe they're focusing more on a late game roam, which is entirely possible. You know, you can creep up on unsuspecting attackers who are busy looking at verticals, so really don't know.
Yeah, and Alibi will be a perfect operator for that very thing, to just go in, sneak in, go for more of a hit and run kind of approach, and see if maybe she can find a few odd frags here and there. It seems that Happy Skittles is actually able to find a shot into Frenzy, so that is a solid beginning, and that is the Sophia off board, with Kapkan kind of almost going full-on Assassin's Creed mode, I believe, where as he just jumped down and bopped the kind of Mario style, the Polish operator, but Tyblex doesn't forgive that, so quick punishment in that regard.
That wall is still bandited on those yellow stairs, or K-charge. No, K-charge. I'm pretty sure it's K-charge. Yep. Which means that they do need Isabel to go up again, throw a similar frag grenade to what they did in the first round, to be able to allow the ace to open it up. Otherwise, it's sort of, you know, just sort of sitting there, not really doing anything. But Mixes pushes so aggressively, manages to take down Toasted, gets downed for their efforts though.
Yeah, it gets taken down pretty quickly, and good trade. So now, finally, Dim Scrims are starting to fire back. Tyblex is going absolutely nuts here with some of the plays and being able to just completely spearhead the overall operation. But in the 3v2, with 25 seconds left to go, this is going to be quite a tough one, albeit the man advantage is still there for the attack, but they will need to chop really quickly if they do want to get that plant.
Yeah, all the defenders seem to have rotated back onto site, which is the more appropriate, you know, outcome, seeing as there's only 6 seconds left on the clock. Action is going to get started. Diffuser does get dropped onto site. Isabel gets that headshot onto Bush Demon, but the attackers don't have time. You know, Diffuser gets dropped onto site, and they just can't reclaim it.
And this is exactly what I was talking about as well, with the fact that defenders have the ultimate weapon, I suppose, which is the time, playing in their favor, being able to just delay the time, just to be able to force the attack to make those small mistakes here and there, and it works. They're able to successfully slow things down, curb the general aggression that the attack was bringing in, and straight off the bat, there's the win. Even though it wasn't based off frags, they were able to very successfully delay the overall onslaught of the attacking operators, and, well, there we go.
Yeah, and I want to expand upon that point a little bit. A lot of the times when people say, what makes an effective roam, or, I'm a great roamer or something like that, what actually makes a good roamer isn't, obviously it is a little bit based on how many kills you can get at the start. That definitely helps. But it's also how much time you can waste and how much utility you can dispense from the attackers. For example, the attackers are going to be trying to drone out any roamers, such as the Vigil in this case, or even the Jaeger in this case. And if they're able to even take down 3 to 4 drones, that's 3 or 4 drones less for the attackers to use when they're droning on site, which means the anchors in this case, for example, the Maestro, the Cade, will have an infinitely easier job of securing their position where they are. And that's just, a small example of something that could happen.
Yeah, that is a very good point. And for that very reason, Pro League and, well, Tier 1, let's just say, competitive scene actually favors so much utility operators like Mute, like Mozzie, just because they can deny a huge amount of information to force the attack to go for face-checking the angles, and subsequently could pretty much result in their demise. So it's one way to essentially delay the push, and well, we'll have to see how will Dim Scrims be able to adapt to that, because already after 2 rounds, it was a little bit shaky, but third round was definitely a much bigger success. So now that they kind of figured out that they need to actually throw in some roaming, some kind of a wider roam rather, this is where they will have the maximum amount of kind of leverage, I suppose.
I do want to say a little bit about Cass on that Vigil. A lot of the times people do pick Vigil, but they don't really understand how effective he can actually be. Because look at him, he's all the way down in throw room, he's activated his gadget, but he's still appearing on the scanners of the drones. Meanwhile, in the background, Tidelex is able to take down Zippy Wonder, and Happy Skittles quickly falls underneath that too. But based on that Vigil, that's just perceived pressure. But I assume in this case, Randy Pants don't really care about that perceived pressure at all, because they're already on site, they're smoking enough, getting ready for that plant.
Yeah, they don't care. They just go in full swing. Kaz does finally manage to find a frag, but will get pretty quickly traded out by Isabel. So this is already looking a little bit grim here for the defenses. Yep, Tideblaze just goes in for the swing, and the AK-12 just absolutely toasts pretty much the whole defense. I mean, look at this. The 2-time scope on the AK is actually vile.
Indeed it is. Indeed it is. Personally, I don't like it. Is that all right to say? Is that an offensive statement to make?
That's fully okay. Hey, I'm gonna say that I'm not particularly a fan of the 1.5 times scope on some of the guns, but yeah, I don't mind the 2 times scope, and for that matter, I like the new scopes just for the fact that how clear they are, minus the new holo. Yes. And the general kind of sight housing is quite nice, but yeah, for some of the guns, it feels unnatural. You know how with some of the guns, like say for me personally, Buck C8 with an ACOG was a natural kind of combination. Even though it kicks like a mule, the recoil was like, unless you've played and dumpstered hours upon hours into games like CS where recoil control is like your number 1 priority in the gunfight, the C8 is an uncontrollable deep.
Not wrong. Definitely not wrong. I'm pretty sure all of the times that I use Buck C8, I've only ever used a holo on it. Maybe my first few times I put an ACOG on it just because, I was using ACOG on everything at the time, and I was like, oh, well, I'll just slap that on too. I used it for 1 game, and I was like, oh, okay, we're not doing this anymore.
Yeah, I don't know, like, Buck C8, funnily enough, after a few like tens of hours, if not hundreds of hours, became actually very easy gun to control recoil, because for the most of it, it's vertical recoil, but you have to just yank the mouse like really hard to pretty much negate all of that recoil. With 1.5 times scope, yeah, it still kind of feels similar to that, but the main wonder, the main thing that helps with the gun's recoil is, well, personally for me, was the flash hider, just to eliminate that initial, I suppose, recoil from the first 3 rounds, because this is where kind of the main kick comes out. But yeah, either way.
I hope whoever drops that hatch in security is very careful of how they drone it, because for those who might have missed it, Toasted has actually pre-placed a C4 right underneath. You know, that Muzzy? Yeah, that C4 is sticking to that roof right under that hatch drop. So, you know, hopefully no one's looked at it.
I think Isabel heard some sort of a sound cue, because pretty sure that Sledge went down to that maintenance room. Frenzy, meanwhile, was able to eliminate one of the defenders, that is Kaz, so very nice, very quick riddance. And yeah, there we go. We did see Isabel get rid of that C4. So an easy, a safer rather drop down to the site will be there. And well, meanwhile, we're already hearing another set of ace charges going off with quite literally no contention whatsoever from the defense.
There is a little contention with the body of Happy Skittles, but he doesn't manage to aim down his sights properly and gets swiftly taken down. Tyblex, as usual, on the A's, tearing it up with his new scope as well.
Yeah, the scope is certainly working quite the magic here. P10 running with a brand spanking new 1.5 times scope on Toasted. Should have a really nice flank, because I don't think Randy Pants are actually expecting a flank to come around here, so he could get... Toasted could get a nice double kill here if he swings, because there's already full 3-man push already on site. Zippy Wonder about to swing it on mixes, but the gun disadvantage is certainly there, and well, there's quite a nice quick white pop, and actually a flawless round for round number 5.
Yeah, that was an excellent turn of events. You know, I didn't expect the attackers to actually know that the Mozzie was on the flank. Maybe there was a hidden drone, maybe there was a pre-placed Nomad air jab that we missed. I'm not entirely sure, though.
Yeah, could be just the fact that poor Toasted just whiffed at a few shots and pretty much signaled that part. I believe we might be getting a little bit of a rehost. But apart from that, Bunk and Daycare will be chosen for the next side, but curious whether we are going to be proceeding with the 4v5 or rather we are. Yeah, so we are going to be going for a bit of a cheeky rehost just to get things back on the way. But yeah, 4-1 scoreline so far. Randy Pants are certainly asserting their dominance here. Massive shout out to Tyblex for being essentially the gigantic carry of Randy Pants for now. And look, I mean, man is feeling it.
I mean, I don't think there's any doubt that someone using the AK-12 isn't really hitting their shots. It is quite a strong gun, and especially when Ace first came out, it was one of the first things that people noticed about him. They were like, wow, he has the AK-12. Wow, the AK-12 is such a great gun. And on a hard broacher as well. So he could probably do anything he wanted at this point. And that's exactly what Tyblex is doing. He's almost doing whatever he wants.
I mean, there was a multitude of talks about what would happen if, say, Fuse would have became a 2 or 3-speed operator. He would have been an absolutely scary operator, even with his utility. Like, imagine a 3-speed Fuse with a gun like an AK-12 being just running around and essentially just bopping his fuse charges all over the map, whilst you can't even go for a quick enough rotate to even adjust to all of his hockey pucks going in. So it's a very tough time for... it would have been a very tough time, but right now the main issue is the fact that, those breaches are happening extremely quickly, and there's not a whole lot of ways to really even deny those breaches. So it's more so just a game of how can you adapt to that play. And probably my first kind of thought here will be maybe the defense needs to play now a little bit more so of an offside/vertical play, given that, well, you technically, when the first breach happens, you make a rotation, go for the above play, and that way you can hold on to the site whilst being in relative safety.
Yeah, I agree with what you said. I believe that the attackers are very aggressive with how they push. They have some excellent pre-placed drones from the droning prep phase that they're utilizing to their best effect. And I don't think the defenders are able to, take down as many of these drones as they are able to before the round starts, which means that the attackers can quite confidently, clear out the entire building in under a minute almost, get those verticals secured, especially if the defenders are on that armory throne room. And more often than not, by the minute 30, by the at least 2 minute mark, there would be all the appropriate verticals opened, most of the Cade bandit charges taken down so that the ace can open up and they can go for a plant at that point. And, with that much confusion happening, it's quite a lot to react to as a defender, especially if you're anchoring on site and your ceiling's blowing in and the ace charges are opening up the walls, grenades are flying in, smoke grenades are clouding your vision. It's just really not the place to be at that point.
Yeah, and I mean, imagine at this point you can have a full comp setup where it's Thatcher and 4 hard breaches, or better yet, Thatcher, Monty with the hard breach device, and then 3 hard breaches, say Thermite, Hibana, and Ace. That is a scary thought to think about, because at this point, Thatcher pretty much allows all of those breaches to happen at the same time. And you see pretty much your left wall, Hibana charges going up. Your right wall, Thermite charge going off. In front of you, there's an ace charge about to pop. It's just the general hysteria. Unless your Oryx that can do those quick adjustments and quick openings in the walls with your whole body, you're pretty much dead.
I mean, that's probably why that Monty ban came out, right? Just to deny a little bit of that hard breach, and so an intimidating shield wouldn't be walking in through that breach hole going, hello, how's it going, guys?
Correct. Actually, funnily enough, I didn't get to play around with the Monty with that hard breach gadget. And that opens up a whole new perspective for a player, because say for Consulate, you know how there's a small walk-in area, like almost like a walk-in closet in the console office?
Oh, yeah.
So if you breach that small patch of wall from the exit stairs into that walk-in part, you can pretty much grant yourself a very quick entry onto the site without even needing to go through that massive reception choke point, which defenders usually have it set up. So if you're able to get rid of, if there are any kind of ways to deny the breach, say a mute charge or a bandit charge, you got a whole new avenue to really go in through. And I don't think the current meta can accommodate for that. So I reckon we are going to be seeing a huge change in the general kind of approach for the play.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely one thing to see a Monty go through a barricaded door or even a walk height breach hole, but to have that Monty have a breach charge of itself and to be able to, almost breach onto site by himself and stand intimidatingly in a corner to face you, that's like a whole new story to deal with. And I don't know if I'm mentally ready for that.
Look, I mean, worst comes to worst, we've already went through the theoretical phase of the yin and glass meta, which could have happened, but it didn't thankfully happen. Here, I mean, we can theory craft all we want, but the competitive play will definitely shift itself at one point. But we'll have to see how will it really perform. Groovy is about to either catch these hands or he's about to dish out these hands, because Pulse already knows there is the sound cue for the Ash to know that there is somebody roaming up close. So this is going to be a battle of just the reaction speed, I would imagine.
I believe Groovy has the advantage in this case because he does have 2 more flashes still left in his pocket. As long as he's able to pre-aim down the Pulse, he should be able to get the jump on him, and he does. Happy Skittles gets down, and Groovy walks out of this exchange unharmed.
I would imagine Groovy would have been a little bit panicky there. The moment he tried to jump back out of the window, thinking, oh god, I did not land that shot. And then realizing, oh, there's already a dead bald guy. Yeah.
C4 does come out from Zippy Wonder, doesn't manage to catch quite anything. Maybe it was just a drone clearing a C4, or to just slow down the charge of the attackers, so Zippy Wonder could rotate to a more safer position. Entirely plausible.
Attackers have recovered the diffuser.
Definitely could have happened. Toasted's position as a vigil especially could really turn the tide here, unless he will get hunted down by Frenzy, who I believe already just found him. Yep, there it is. Quick and easy frag here. Tidelex is already gonna go in and potentially for the swing into the cafeteria. Yep, there's another frag. 2v5, make it 1v5, and all down to Kaz, and poor Bandit is just about to die. Yep, there it is. Full execution. Round 6 to go into the hands of Randy Pants in a pretty swift, pretty easy manner.
You know, watching Tyblex with this new scope is sort of changing my perspective. You know, I'm sort of curious, and I want to go into game and try it out one more time, just because, you know, seeing the effectiveness of what he's wielding that gun with, I want to see how that feels.
The only thing is, personally for me, I prefer to run the AK-12 with the vertical grip, just because the angle grip recoil of the AK-12 gets really sporadic and really wild once you try to hold down the left click. So there are a few big ifs around the gun, but yeah, it certainly does allow you to engage on a variety of ranges, and with the sight being really clean and basically having barely any kind of borders around it, it definitely allows you to have a larger kind of peripheral vision.
I mean, recoil doesn't matter if you land your first shot.
True.
Just
but that implies,
Yeah,
but that implies people having a good aim, and well, personally for me, I don't trust myself to land the first shot, so I just go for spray and pray, and just pray to all the siege gods that my shots will connect. That's usually how it works.
Interesting pick out from Tyblex though on that Caveira. Not an operator you see a lot of the times, but quite a devastating operator if you don't drone her out and let her snowball that effect, you know. By herself, her guns are... I mean, she's got alright guns, but they're mediocre at best, yeah. Her gadget makes her quite silent, it makes her invisible to Jackal scans, which would counter Happy Skittles at this point. But overall, you know, she's not the best operator. However, you get one interrogation off. Oh boy. Oh boy.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a very scary thing. If you do get that interrogation, it's pretty much at this point called around a GG, because it's more so like a glass cannon, I would imagine, that whole general pick. And if you can get the down at the very least, oh man, you can do quite a nasty amount of damage. And already a quick punish there, and a bit of a team kill as well. No, Bush Demon will be going down, and that is the only Heartbreacher as well on the side of Randy Pants, Tim Scrims rather. And well, that is going to be a very unfortunate thing. So technically, Mixes has traded out his frag, his death.
Yeah, technically his death was traded out almost instantly, so I guess it was a boon, you know? And with these aggressive plays out from Randy Pants, they're really asserting their dominance onto this map. All they're doing at this point is just runouts. They have all the windows prepped, every single window could be a potential death, and there it is, ladies and gentlemen, the first interrogation of the round.
Round indeed, yeah. Tyblex does manage to find the kill into CP Wonder. Does know that there is Toasted going in for the gunfight, but the C8 is just a little bit better with the gunfight. There's another run out happening. Groovy on a double kill. Does see the Zofia, but Zofia able to punish. We're back to a 2v1, but still winnable for Kaz, but Kaz will be just completely punished, shut down, and Randy Pants winning out round number 7, I believe, getting themselves to a match point as well.
Yeah, definitely a little bit of a disadvantage there with that Carriera interrogation. You know, not much places you can go to with your location being revealed almost like that. So it wasn't a lot of choice. You just had to go for the gunfights and hope for the best.
You did well. That was pretty much all she wrote for that round. We do see a potential appearance of the Lord Chunker himself, who could potentially... Actually, he could lock down Initiation or Office pretty well, not going to lie. If there are plenty amount of traps, ballistic shields, barbed wire as well, just to essentially do everything to play around the Chunker, it could have been huge, but Tyblex decides to just tease me with that, with a good time, and just switches over to Vigil rather.
He could 6-pick.
She could. I have my doubts here. I'll be honest, but look, I mean, overall, I'm still liking this whole lineup. First of all, as well, the first appearance of Melusia, I believe, or at the very least, first time I'm noticing the pick of Melusia, and she... There's a very split kind of opinion in the community about her. Some people consider her absolutely broken with her, thanks to her utility, because that's what technically what the old Zafia / Ella utility did, so slow down and give that kind of the sound cue. But it's the fact that it's a very large area, plus you need to melee it. You can't shoot it out in any shape or form. So it's either explosives or a melee attack that will be able to get rid of it. And this is probably the main issue with the Melusi gadget for some of the people. But otherwise, she's a fantastic roaming operator. She has a C4, the Legion's SMG. It's full set of all the goodness.
Yeah, I'm a sort of believer of the fact that a Melusi is alright to deal with until you're the last attacker alive on the round.
Yes.
And you're faced against all of these Melusi gadgets, or wob-wobs, as we like to call them.
Yeah.
How many times have you joined and be like, wob-wob here, wob-wob there? No, but like it makes just a 1vx that much more irritating, especially if you're an operator who's already used their frag grenades or don't have any frag grenades to start off with, which isn't a lot of operators. And it's just, and more often than not, by the time you're within melee range, you're dead because the defenders know exactly where you are because the Banshee has just been pinging the heck out of you. So it's definitely not a fun operator to go up against. And you can only hope that one of your teammates has taken it down before you go for that 1vx push.
Another cool thing that you can do with those Melusi charges as well is you can place them right by one of the doorways, and if you have a breachable floor from down below, pre-place C4, and the moment you hear the wob-wobs, detonate the C4, you get an easy kill. Probably the easiest thing that can be done is in the kitchen of Clubhouse, but we won't be talking about that yet because we do already see 1.5 people dead, and 1.5 because Zippy is downed and not out yet, so maybe a C4 could have been the demise of those two players, but not for the time being.
Definitely put Zippy Wonder at a disadvantage. That's your Thermite, your Hard Breacher, the only one left, especially seeing as Bush Demon is dead. And to have him on such low amounts of health means that any contact with a defender will promptly end him, which is not ideal for Dim Scrims.
Not at all. Being on the verge of losing out the grand final as well, that is going to be a devastating one. Just as a reminder, it is a best of one matchup as well, so this could be the end of it, albeit we are down to a 3 versus 3. Toasted does find a double kill. That is on Happy Skittles, that is on Groovy and Mixes, and with Frenzy finding the kill into Zippy Wonder, this is now leaving all down to the Zafia and the Ash. Make it just the Ash as Frenzy does find the shot on the double kill, and well, this is definitely not looking too pretty here for Dim Scrims.
Oh, it was so close!
Oh, Toasted,
I was gonna say he's on site. No one knows where he is. They're trying to take him down. They're bomb rushing him, but they're not able to finish. He's not able to finish them off. I believe he had to go for the reload. And you know what? That is it, ladies and gentlemen. It is going to be Randy Pants taking out the grand final for the win.
Yeah, grand final for the win indeed. Massive congrats to Randy Pants. Showing some phenomenal, very dominant gameplay as well for themselves, and well, they will be the winners of the Telstra Tourney, and we'll be pretty much seeing the conclusion of, at the very least, tonight's tourney as well. There will be plenty of tourneys continuing throughout the whole week of PAX Online, but that is pretty much all that there could have been done. Just before we go back to the studio and to our wonderful hosts, Pi, any kind of final thoughts about the matchup overall?
I mean, I thought that was a great game to watch. There was a little bit of fun in games. There was also an appropriate amount of aggression and a little bit of dominance asserted by the victors of this map. So overall, it was a great game to spectate.
Oh yeah, it was definitely a very nice, very good. Some of the good showcases as well of the new operators, that is Ace and Melusi, did come around. So certainly a good beginning. But from us, that is about it. We'll see you all later, and back to our wonderful.
Welcome back, everybody. And I guess you know what they say, Stacia.
What do they say, Nick?
You eat too many dim scrims, you get Randy Pants.
What a match. What a match, Randy Pants.
It was a really, really good matchup, and we did enjoy the play style of both teams. Unfortunately, one was just more dominant in the end of the day.
Yeah, look, Dim Scrims, beautiful, the round that they won on defense, beautiful delay there to run that clock down. But Randy Pants, they were aggressive. They knew what they wanted. They wanted that win. They went for it, and they got it. Congratulations.
And then tomorrow, we're going to be taking you all the way back to 1987, where we play some Street Fighter, taking you back to those days in the arcade. You know, you go in and you put in your little coins into the arcade, and everyone's huddling around the best two players.
Chung-Li all the way.
That's pretty much what we're going to have tomorrow night. Obviously, it's going to be Street Fighter 5, not Street Fighter 1 or 2, which were the other two most popular. But we're very excited to be bringing you the finals of that tomorrow at 6 p.m. That is Australian Sydney time. But do tune in from all over the world. Thank you for joining us. Good night.
Good night.